So there's a brand new A24 movie this weekend, and you know I had to go see it opening day. Death of a Unicorn, if you haven't heard about it, is A24's latest movie, and it stars Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd as a father and daughter who, while on their way to visit the home of a billionaire pharmaceutical CEO, they hit a unicorn. So naturally, when one hits a unicorn, you stuff it in the back of your car, and then once the CEO finds out that this unicorn has medicinal properties beyond anything that modern medicine can provide, he obviously wants to capitalize on it, as is every American's nature. But yes, A24's Death of a Unicorn is a really fun movie. It really tries to hone in on the anti-capitalist feeling that's happening in the world right now and really narrow in on that with this metaphor of taking advantage of this unicorn. And while this movie is really good, it doesn't completely land its messaging, especially not in the last third of this film. That all being said, I really had a good time with this. The cast is absolutely stacked. This is one of those movies that can really fall apart if the cast isn't just right, and I think everyone does a fantastic job. Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd are our leads, and their chemistry is really good. I gotta say, I did not like Paul Rudd's character for a majority of this movie, but once you find out more about his motivations for what he does, you do start to sympathize with him, and you start to really care about this father-daughter dynamic that's happening. Also, this is a little bit of a side note, but have y'all noticed how weird it is that whenever there are parents of two different races in a movie or TV show, they always kill off the parent of color, and that's like the big motivation for things. Not necessarily a critique on this movie, but just a weird trend that I've noticed a lot lately. But I digress. Jenna Ortega has just like a natural talent for elevating material. It's something that we've seen in the past, and I'm so glad that she's getting more lead work. Also, Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega were producers on this, which is like really cool. But the rest of the cast is also great. You have Richard E. Grant as the CEO of this pharmaceutical company, and you have Tia Leone and Will Poulter playing his wife and his son respectively, and they're all really funny playing these over-the-top capitalist pigs. Will Poulter's role is particularly complex and really has a lot more of an arc to it than all of the other characters in this family, and he does a really good job at delivering. He is also extremely funny. He has some of the funniest lines. Some of those lines do feel a little bit out of place, like they were hilarious in the trailer, but seeing them in the context of the film feel a little bit out of place, but he manages to deliver them in a way that still works. Anthony Carrigan is also in this movie, and he does a fantastic job. His role is a lot smaller, but he makes such an impact, and he's just so funny and so sympathetic. If you're familiar with his work on Barry, you know what I'm talking about. If you're like me and met him in Parenthood, he's such a talent. I was surprised to find out that this is actually a first-time writer-director because the plot is so ambitious. The cast that he was able to assemble is so stacked. And to find out that this is a first feature is honestly mind-blowing for me. And I think that it allows me to overlook some of the flaws in this film. So the writer-director is Alex Scharfman. He has produced a lot of stuff. He's written some shorts, directed a short, I believe. But this is his first feature film. And I gotta say, he does a really good job with this film which is a satire on today's capitalist society and our greed, but also kind of a creature feature movie, more akin to Jurassic Park or E.T. or early Spielberg. That being said, like I mentioned earlier, not everything works in this film. I do think that the beginning is really heavy on that commentary, but then as the unicorns show up, spoiler alert, there are multiple unicorns in this, they start to kind of lose that messaging, and it turns more into your typical creature feature, which is not a bad thing because it is genuinely scary at points, and it also continues to be hilarious, but it does lose some of that messaging, and it makes it feel a little bit discombobulated from the beginning of it to the end of it. But overall, I had a really good time with this movie. I definitely do think that it's probably one of the best things out in theaters right now, aside from the re-release of Princess Mononoke, which I'm so excited to go see, side note. But yeah, if you're looking for a new movie to watch, you will not be disappointed by Death of a Unicorn. Just note that it does get pretty gory, so if you don't like that stuff, maybe go watch a different movie, but if you do, you're gonna have a great time. Great cast, great fun. What else can you want?